Hello everyone, I'm back and I want to thank you for your thoughts and your prayers regarding my situation, which has been completely traumatic for me, let alone trying to do the Greek as well and cope with this, but I'm doing the best that I can and I'm slowly getting more into it and slowly presenting you with more material. I try not to actually give you too much material because you've got enough material on a week by week basis with mounts, with a DVD, the lecture notes and so forth, the flashcards, everything you've got that's there. So I'm trying to give you what I call 3-minute helpers along the way that you can see, just to give you the big picture at this point of where you've gone. If you've just picked up the main things, which basically comes down to obviously the alphabet, you know the alphabet now, and also the definite article. The definite article is going to help you in a big way because it's going to help you determine the declension of any nouns and adjectives that go with the definite article. So that should be thoroughly part of who you are. Having said that, from the definite article, then we also know the first and second declensions. There's only 3 declensions, and basically the word declension just means pattern. Presumably that's how these nouns developed through the centuries in respect to how they were formed. So it's a sort of a construct we put on it, a declension. But you've got the 2 declensions so far, where you've got the feminine declension, first declension feminine, with nouns that end in an alpha or an eta, or that special category. And there's only a few of them that go like doxa, that nouns that end in a vowel or a row will go like himera, and then any other will go with the consonant will go just like doxa. In other words, the genitive singular and the accused and the dative singular then change from an alpha to an eta. So those are really the key elements in terms of first declension feminine that you've got. And you can notice that if you look at the plurals of the genitives and the datives, they're exactly the same. It's own, oisens, and so forth. So therefore, that's going to help you as you look. You see patterns in those. The same's true with the first declension masculine that you've got, and also then the first declension neuter, which I put down, ergon and logos. And you notice again the genitive and the dative plurals are exactly the same. So if you know all those things, basically at this point, the rest of it, I wrote to one of you tonight, and I said what will happen is that some of the other grammar is going to creep up on you. You don't have to worry too much about what is a Greek question mark and the semicolon and so on. That's going to come on you. The more Greek we do, the stuff that you don't know will come back, and so that if you'll end up, say if you know 60% of the vocabulary, of the grammar now, what will happen is very quickly, as you do more and more Greek, that will go up further to 80-85%. The other element that I've not mentioned that's really important is the vocabulary. The more you keep up with the vocabulary of what you get each week, and what I suggest you do is, I used to do this years and years ago, is get the vocabulary, write it out 3 times, saying what the word is and so forth, logos word, spell it out, be as audible as you can, shout it out, don't let your kids see you or your spouse see you doing this because they think you're crazy. And then after doing that 3 times of writing it out and audibly speaking it as you write, then try and remember it. What you'll remember is you'll probably get about 60 or 65% of the vocabulary words, and then you can go over the ones that you can't remember. A lot of them are easy to remember anyway because they're either cognates or they've got very close associations, or I've said this before, I think, use memory techniques. I use these, I've done them all the time, done it for years and years. So for example, the Greek word for face is prosopon. Okay, ta prosopon. It's a feminine, it's a second declension neuter noun. So I remembered it by prosopon. I would put soap on my face like this, and I'd be doing this, and I'd be thinking of prosopon, which basically means not soap, but face. And I did that right across the board. And it works, because after a while you might think, well, don't you start thinking about soap and so on? No. After a while what happens is you immediately transfer from the English word or the Greek word, vice versa and so on. So please use that, keep up with the vocabulary, because it gives you confidence. Because when you're doing translation, what you need to do is to be able to not be looking always in the back of the book with the dictionary, because you'll be doing that enough to look what words mean. But if you see a word, you recognize it, that gives you confidence, you go ahead in your translation. All right, tomorrow I've already posted some material in respect to just basically giving you a diagram on prepositions that we're dealing with lesson 8, and I'll look at lesson 8 tomorrow as I go through it in the next couple of days to work on perhaps areas that you might need some attention to in my 3-minute helpers. And if there's areas that you want me to cover, tell me and I will cover it for the whole class. And then on Friday, our test's going to be different this week. I'm going to do a completely different test in a way that will try and bring everybody in together. So let's do it. Thanks. Bye-bye.